Hello viewers, welcome back to second episode of our React series from Zero to Cloud. In last video, we crafted a dashboard shell, but right now it's a dumb app. It doesn't know who we are and it forgets everything at the moment we hit the refresh button. So viewers, today we change that. We are going to give LiveSphere an authentication mechanism using React Context API. We are moving beyond simple props. I am going to show you how to build a global authentication that persists login and you stay logged in even after a page reloads. Viewers, it manages states globally and no more props drilling, like no more passing the same variable again and again through multiple components. So setting it globally using Context API, our data will be there whether we are in the nav bar or in the dashboard. So viewers, by the end of this tutorial, you will understand how to use context providers, lazy state initialization, and how to protect your route from unauthorized users. So if you are ready to turn your UI into a real world application, let's get into the code. So viewers, inside your previous code, first of all, create context folder inside the source folder and create AuthContext.jsx component. Now, inside AuthContext, import the createContext function from React library. After that, create the context object and export it as AuthContext. Then create a AuthProvider.jsx component and inside it import React. Then import AuthContext object from AuthContext.js component we created before. This context will act like a global tunnel to share authentication data across the entire application. Now, create and export a component called AuthProvider. It receives children as props. This means whatever we wrap inside AuthProvider will get access to authentication data. Now create a user state and its setter setUser. Viewers, you notice we are passing a function instead of direct value. This is called lazy initialization. After that, immediately check local storage for previously saved user data. is_user is the key where user data is stored. If user data exists, parse it from JSON and return it. And if it is null, return the null. Viewers, this ensures that user stays logged in after page refresh and no unnecessary re-renders happen. And in the end, import the setState hook on the top. Next, create another state called isAppReady. Initially, it is false. The flag helps us to control when the app is fully initialized. useEffect runs only once when the component mounts. Viewers, after that, we use setTimeout with 0 milliseconds. This defers the execution to the next event loop cycle. It prevents cascading render errors, and after the delay, isAppReady becomes true. After that, use clear timeout cleanup function. If component unmounts, the timer gets clean. And viewers, empty dependency array means this runs only once. And in the end, import useEffect hook in the top. Now viewers, we will define global actions. These functions will be available everywhere in the application. Login function receives user data when someone logs in. It will update the user state. It will save user data in local storage and will keep user logged in even after refresh. Then viewers, logout function run when user logs out. It would clear user state and would remove user data from the local storage. Viewers, after that we return JSX. We wrap everything inside context provider and through the value prop we pass current user state, login function, logout function and readiness flag as is app ready. Now any component can access these using useContext. After that we render children components inside the provider. That means the entire app gets access to authentication. Viewers, by wrapping our app inside AuthProvider, we give every component a VIP pass to access global user state, login functionality, logout functionality, and app readiness control. This is how we build clean, scalable authentication architecture in React. Viewers, now we will go inside main.jsx component and import the AuthProvider. After that, we will wrap app with the AuthProvider. Viewers, we did this because we want every component in the entire app to access authentication state. Viewers, what actually happens with this? The auth provider uses AuthContext.provider and provides user login, logout and is app ready parameter. But context only works for components that are inside its tree. Viewers, if you do not wrap the app inside AuthProvider, the components like navbar, dashboard and sidebar will not have access to AuthContext and they will throw an error or receive undefined. But viewers, there is a point why we wrap it at main.jsx level. It is just because main.jsx is the root entry point of our React app. When you wrap app over here, we are basically saying that everything is inside the app. And I mean everything gets authentication access and it's become global state. Viewers, after the implementation of AuthProvider, now we will go in the login component and import the AuthContext. Then we will pull the login function from context provider. After that, we pass the username to that login function to set it to global state. After that, we will call this AuthContext inside our dashboard component. This allows us to access authentication data provided by AuthProvider inside the dashboard. In this, we use useContext to access values from AuthContext. Specifically, we extract the user object. We create a local state called stats. Initially, it is set to null. This state will later hold dashboard statistics like revenue, sale, customers, and bounce rate. Now viewers, we import hooks for useContext, useState, and useEffect on the top. After that, get the first letter of username for avatar and convert it into uppercase. If there is no user exist, fall back to letter capital U. Viewers, after that, call useEffect to simulate API call. This useEffect runs once when the component mounts. We simulate an API delay using setTimeout. This mimics fetching data from a backend. After 1 second, we update the state of statistics with mock data. This triggers the component re-rendering and UI updates with real values. Over here, empty dependency array means this effect runs only once. This state holds dashboard statistics like revenue, sales, customers, and bounce rate. After that, change the JSX content to new dashboard look. New dashboard carries professional header having user avatar. Viewers, HTML of this dashboard is simple and you may regenerate it from this video, or you may download it from my GitHub link. Viewers, after this, add the styling content in app.css like dashboard-grid, dashboard-header, and avatar styling. Also provide styling for stats section. Viewers, after the complete implementation, now run the project using command npm space run space dev and click on the login link from the top right corner. Set the username and password and click login button. And viewers, you can see a beautiful dashboard with welcome section carrying the username through which we have logged in. And this is persisted user session. And if you refresh the page, it will keep the login info. Viewers, this login info was set on login page but is available on dashboard and will be available on every section of this application where we require it, as we have handled it through Context API. So viewers, at the end we summarize the today's session. First, we learned how authentication works in React using Context API. we created our AuthContext and AuthProvider, stored user data in local storage, and made login and logout functions globally accessible. Viewers, then we learned something very important, and that was why we must wrap our entire app inside the AuthProvider in main.jsx file. It was just because the context only works inside its tree. If we do not wrap it at the root level, our components won't get access to authentication. Viewers, then we called AuthProvider login function in our login component and passed username to it to set it globally. After that, we moved to the dashboard component and learned how to consume global state using useContext. Then we learned how to manage local state using useState. Then we simulated API calls using useEffect. After that, we learned how to safely access user data and how React re-renders when state updates. Viewers, we also learned what cascading render errors are and how to avoid them, which is very important concept for writing stable React applications. Viewers, this is not just basic React. This is real world scalable React architecture. And viewers, in the end, don't forget to subscribe my channel CodingMavrick. I will see you in the next video.